Hey guys, what's going on? It is Broken Nose Vlogs here. I might look a little different. I have forgotten where my glasses have gone. But as in the thumbnail stated, I may have a slight problem. Uh, if you look on the tray in front of us here, you will see there are 3 graphics cards, which honestly is probably 2 more than I really need. I've talked about 2 of them quite a bit. The third one is something new, which we're going to talk about in a minute. I'm going to go over the other 2 really quick though. This is a GTX 1070. This 1070 started its life with me when it was given to me by a coworker saying they didn't need it. It was in a throwaway computer that they found, and I had refurbished it. And for the most part, it did okay. It did some Stepmania streaming for me, and it is a backup card. It is a OEM blower style, and I don't see any reason to get rid of it yet. It's still okay. Moving on to the next one, we have this. This is the MSI RTX 2060 Super, which originally was put in the Panda build until recently when that machine got a Asus 2060 Super Evo Dual, I think I said it backwards, Dual Evo, to replace it. This particular card, I've done a video all on its own because it is the Newegg refreshed GPU that I got, which the fan shroud had fallen off of. As you can see, I have fixed it. You may notice, though, that there is definitely signs of me adhering the fan shroud to the heatsink, so it's kind of like a permanent situation. This originally was going to be the main unit that I used in that Stepmania streaming machine until I tried it out and I wasn't super happy with it. I don't know if it was a driver incompatibility issue, I don't know if it was just an unhappy card situation, but I had a crash to desktop using this card when I was streaming, which I had never had with the 1070, so I was a little skeptical of continuing to use this. This may or may not become a backup card. This is not in service. It is sort of off to the side, which means my Stepmania PC currently doesn't have a graphics card yet. In our third bag here, we have the new graphics card that's going to be going in to that Stepmania machine. So I'll go ahead and we'll unwrap it right here. I have just received this. This is a MSI GeForce RTX 4060. Now, it may seem kind of silly. I'm staying with the 60 family, right? I've heard that the RTX 4060 is a very power efficient card. So when I saw this little guy being sold for about $250 and it's factory refurbished, it has a 1-year warranty on board, I thought maybe I'll jump on this and we'll see how it does. And that's exactly what we're going to do. This is going to be replacing the RTX 2060 Super. Even though this is another MSI card, which I was very hesitant to get, I feel like this is probably going to be a fairly good match for my Stepmania machine. Now, just after pulling it out here and just kind of feeling the quality of the build, it is very similar to the 2060 Super when it comes to its build quality. The fans are a little bit different. The 2060 Super fans, the blades are individual, where here it is probably a little difficult to see, but every 2 of these blades are conjoined by a piece of plastic up there. Now, the Ventus series cards are, budget. It was between this and a PNY Verto. I really was not a huge fan of how tall the Verto looked compared to the MSI 4060. What we're going to do is we're going to put this in our 12400F King 15 Pro build, and we're going to play around with it a little bit. Okay, so before I show the world's shortest install montage, I did want to talk about the specs of the RTX 4060 and compare it to the card that it will be replacing, which is the RTX 2060 Super. Luckily, I've made this cool little chart that has the specifications so we can all just look at it instead of hearing me talk about it and looking at my face the whole time. It's on the screen now. The 2060 Super is going to be on the left-hand side. It'll be in varying shades of green, whereas the 4060 will be on the right-hand side and it'll be in varying shades of like a silver gray. So if we talk about the core differences, we can start with the core. So the 2060 Super has a touring core. It uses the TU-106, whereas the 4060 uses the Ada Lovelace core architecture, and it uses an AD107. When it comes to the clock speeds, these are actually specific to the cards that I own. The 2060 Super's base clock is about 1470 megahertz, and it boosts up to 1665. I do believe I've seen it boost higher, but that's what it says on paper. As far as the 4060, its base clock is 1830 megahertz and it boosts up to 2460, which again, I believe I've seen it boost higher. These are just what's on paper. In terms of VRAM, they're actually identical in the capacity and the type of VRAM that they use. They both have 8 gigabytes of GDDR6. The core difference here is the 2060 Super's VRAM is clocked at 1750 megahertz, whereas the 4060's VRAM is clocked at 2125 megahertz. So that faster VRAM is going to make up for this next part, which is the bus width. The 2060 Super has pretty darn good bus width of 256-bit, where the 4060, it's cut in half. It's 128-bit bus width. So the faster VRAM clock speed, I think, helps with the limitations of the bus width. Of course, overclocking it will help it even further, but that is one big difference between the two cards, is the 4060 has a much narrower bus width than the 2060 Super. In terms of the PCI Express version that each card uses, the 2060 Super uses PCI Express version 3.0 at that 16, where the 4060 is PCI Express 4.0, but it uses it at X8. So it doesn't use as many PCIe lanes as the 2060 Super. In terms of power, this is where one card definitely shines over the other. The 2060 Super is a 175 watt TDP card, and it uses a single 8-pin connector for it. It's a little bit higher than the GTX 1070 that it was originally going to replace, whereas the 4060 is a 115 watt TDP card, and with some undervolting, I've actually had it cap out at about 100 watts under full stress duress testing on like 3D Mark and things like that. It also uses a single 8-pin power connector. It does not use that 12-volt high power that some of the other cards use. I believe the 4070 Super or 4070 Ti is where you'll start seeing those in the 40 series. 4070 and below still use the 8-pin. In terms of CUDA cores, the 2060 Super does have a respectable 2,176, whereas the RTX 4060 almost bumps it up by 1,000. It is running 3,072 CUDA cores, so quite a bit more on that 4060. And in terms of RT cores or ray tracing cores, the 2060 Super does have 34 of them, whereas the 4060 has 24 of them. But the big difference here is the 2060 Super uses first-gen ray tracing cores, as the 4060 is running third-gen ray tracing cores. Now, the one thing that I probably should have put on here that I didn't is the encoders. When it comes to the 2060 Super versus the 4060, the 2060 Super uses 6th gen NVENC, but the 4060 uses 8th gen, which supports the AV1 codec for encoding, which is even better at lower bit rates. So the quality is higher on the 4060. That was probably one of the things that I should have put on this chart, but I just forgot about. The 4060, the main reason why I got it wasn't because this is going to be a more powerful card in terms of gameplay than the 2060 Super, because again, this is only going to be used for Stepmania, but it has a much better encoder, and with that better encoder, I should get better quality at even less bit rate, so I don't have to worry about kind of any of that weird blocky artifacting that occurs when I have a lot of high motion, a lot of arrows and things like that. And so far from what I've seen, because I have done one session with the 4060, it does look pretty crisp. It looks really good. So I will say overall, I like how the 4060 handles encoding and streaming, which is the big reason why I got this card. So I guess we can go and take a look at the world's quickest montage of me installing a graphics card into a computer. I'm probably just going to talk over it even, and I'll just sort of wrap up. But the computer for Stepmania, the Stepmania PC now, as it stands, is a very low power item that has high quality output. So the 12400F CPU I feel like is a great CPU, 6 cores, it's fairly fast, it's not a high power CPU. Of all of the i5s in the 12th, 13th, 14th, it is the lowest power consumption as far as I can tell. Granted, it only has 6 performance cores, it has no E-cores. My particular needs, I don't think I need any E-cores, so I'm not really worried about it. In terms of the graphics card, the 2060 Super I really wish wouldn't be so problematic, but I had a number of times where the system would just crash to the desktop in the middle of me streaming Stepmania, which I can't have. I haven't had that with the 4060. I've gone a full hour-plus session. As a matter of fact, one of my lighting systems failed before my computer did. In my latest stream, I'll show it really quick. My latest stream, I have a light bar that I had running in the background just as added eye candy while I played the game. Apparently it was too much load on my lighting system and I lost one of my ring lights, so that will be the first and last time that particular light is seen in any of my streams. But the PC, I don't have any problem with it. The big deal is I gain encoding quality when it comes to the 4060, and this 4060 also has a 0 RPM fan option, which I do have enabled, and so far I don't think that GPU's had to even spin its fans up unless I did 3D mark testing, which, yes, I did 3D mark testing. No, I'm not going to show it because in all reality it's a 4060 and a 12400F. As a matter of fact, if for some reason I did retire from playing Stepmania and streaming, that would probably take the spot of that laptop rig that I have. Of course, that's an entirely what-if situation. We're not going to be talking about that yet. I know I haven't played Stepmania in a week, but that was because of that whole evac situation, which I have already posted on. As a matter of fact, this video was supposed to come out before that, and the whole reason why it's been delayed was because I literally kind of had to spend a week just getting everything back in order and remembering where I had left off on some of my projects. Anyways, so closing thoughts. The RTX 4060 is a killer card in my opinion. It does great. I really like the card. I am a fan of energy efficient cards, so low TDP but high performance, such as the 4070 and the 4060. I like them. They're great. And it's going to be a great addition to the Stepmania PC. I feel very confident with this card that I have because if something does happen, I have a 1-year warranty on it even, so I feel like I'm covered, but I'm really happy with it. I just got to figure out what I'm going to do with my 2 other cards. If I'm going to have them as displays or if I'm going to use them as backups, we'll figure that out later on. This video now has become much too long and I want to stop it, so I'm going to end my ramblings and sort of wrap the video up. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. This is the first video that I've managed to get out since I've been evac'd, and hopefully I will be able to get back on a regular schedule. Until I catch you guys in the next video though, take it easy guys, and bye-bye.